everyone. Today we are going to learn the basics of Lightroom Classic. We're using Lightroom Classic to help you understand the step-by-step processing and editing photos. You will need to use Lightroom Classic, so go ahead and make sure that you have Lightroom Classic downloaded on your Adobe Creative Cloud, and then let's get started with the tutorial. The first thing you need to do whenever you create a new thing is create a new file. In this case, in Lightroom, you will need to create a new catalog. The catalog is essentially a folder that will hold all the photos for one specific project. In this case, we will be holding all the photos in one catalog for this semester. So you only need to create one catalog this entire semester, and we will proceed with doing that. In order to create a new catalog, all you need to do is File, New Catalog. In your new catalog, there is a naming convention that we would like to follow. That means your last name _ photography. Now, the second thing you need to know is you need to know where exactly you are placing your catalog. Choose a location that is easy for you to find and look for the photos that you need. My suggestion is to place it into the pictures or desktop. I'm going to place it onto desktop right now. That's where my catalog is going to be placed and where all my photos are going to be imported into later on. So before you get started on that, I will need you to take a screenshot of the create folder with new catalog window so that I will know that you have used the correct naming convention and the folder that you have placed it in. So go ahead and do that. Pause the video, take a screenshot of that window, and then move on to the next activity. The next part you want to do is you want to import your photos. So in order to import your photos, you will need to go to the Library tab and then click on Import. The import can be found on the left-hand side of the panel, Import. And what you're going to see is a new window that will allow you to find your photos and place it into the correct folder. On the left-hand side, you will see the source, which is where your photos are currently located, which is your memory card. Or if you have a folder that you downloaded it on, then you will place it there. Then in the middle is where you're going to find the photos. And on the top, you will see 4 different options that you can choose from: copy as DNG, copy, move, and add. These are all things that you will use. If you are importing from a specific folder from your laptop, you can use the move selection. However, if you're going to get it from your SD card, I recommend copy. The reason why I want copy is because you do want to leave a copy on your SD card in case you lose your files and you need to have a backup. So copy, and then what you're going to do is place it at the new source. So remember, when we created a catalog, we placed it into my desktop. And for you, you will need to make sure you either choose your desktop or your pictures, but you need to know where the folder is. So mine is at my desktop. So I'm actually going to find the area that I placed it in. And then you can see Wong _ photography there. I'm going to create a new subfolder. And in this case, this is the tutorial subfolder because I will be using these images for the tutorial specifically. What you need to do is take a screenshot of the source of the photos. So the source of where I can find my photos is here. I'm going to select all the photos and I'm going to move it. Because I have imported these photos on my laptop, they're already in a specific place in my laptop, but I do want to move it into the new folder where my catalog belongs. So I need to make sure that it's in my desktop inside the folder Wong _ photography and into a subfolder, which I've named it to tutorial. And then for the succeeding projects, then you would name it the other project names. So I'm going to now import the photo, but before you do, please make sure you take a screenshot, pause the video, and make sure you do this activity properly. Now that you have imported the photos onto the catalog, you need to make sure that you're on the Develop tab. The Develop tab allows you to edit your photos, but also you can look at the photos at the bottom bar. What we're going to do now is something called flagging. Flagging is the ability to choose your top photos and then filter them to only show your flagged photos, your selected photos in this case. So I have all these photos, and what I want you to do is I want you to flag 5 of your best photos. The way you can flag it are 2 ways. You can use a keyboard by selecting P or U. P means to pick, which means you're picking the photo, while U means to unpick, which is to unflag the photo. How do you know if you have flagged a photo? When you select P, there should be a flag on the top left corner of the image window. So I'm going to flag 5 of my best ones, pick, 2, 3, 4. And last one, pick. Now, once you have selected your photos, you can also unpick them pressing U, or you can right click and then flag. So when I select on a photo on the bottom, set flag and flagged. So those are 2 ways you can do it. Now, once I flag my photos, I want to make sure that I only show the flagged photos. You can go onto the right-hand corner here, filter, and then go to flagged. And it will only show the flagged photos. You're going to take a screenshot of this, make sure you have the flag filter on, and then you're going to paste it on to the activity. So pause this video and then make sure that you have the flagged photos done and the screenshots taken. What we're going to do now is we're going to edit your photo. This is a basic editing tool that allows you to do basic editing or complicated editing specifically on Lightroom. Now, Lightroom offers a lot of tools, but the main thing you want to do is to start with the basic edits. You need to make sure you're on the Develop tab and that you are going to toggle with the tools on the right-hand side of the panel. So over here, I have my histogram, and my histogram is going to give me information about the quality of the photo. So it's going to tell you the ISO that it was used, the millimeter lens that was used, the f-stop, as well as the shutter speed. Now here you can see that that is the case, and it's leaning towards the brighter side. Your histogram needs to be healthy in that there shouldn't be too many things that are too dark or too light. So this is a relatively well-balanced photo, and we are going to get started with editing. The basic tools can be found here, and we're going to adjust and toggle the different settings. With the temperature, this photo right now has a very nice warm temperature. I don't think you need to adjust it too much. So I'm just going to maybe make it a little bit yellow and then fix the tint to make it a little bit more pink. So you can see that the adjustment right now is +6 and +9 for the tint respectively. And I am not adjusting too much. The goal isn't to do too much, but to make very slight changes that would help enhance your photo. So now I'm going to go with exposure. I'm going to do a general increase in lighting. Contrast, I want to bring out the contrast a bit more, bring up the highlights as well, remove the shadows a bit, bring out the whites or bring down the whites and bring out the black. So far, I also want to adjust the texture to make it a little bit sharper as well as the clarity. Now you don't want to do too much because see what happens when you add too much clarity, it becomes a little bit too dark. Now I want to adjust the vibrancy to bring a bit more color as well as the saturation. So you can see that I've toggled with everything a little bit, and that is a good indicator of how it looks. So far, if you want to see a before and after of your edits, you go over here to the bottom left center and you're going to click this. You can see the adjustments I've currently made is to make it a little bit warmer. It really depends on the tone that you're trying to set, but I like my photos to look a little bit warmer. And I like to bring a little bit more of that tone onto her face, which is why I've edited it this way. So it really depends on what you prefer. So what you're going to do now is you're going to show a screenshot of your histogram, and you're going to indicate what the aperture is, what the shutter speed is, and what your ISO is. So in this case, my aperture is f2.8. My shutter speed is 1/125 seconds, and my ISO is 100. I would say that my photo is well balanced. And what do I need to improve on it? I just need to add a little bit more color, bring up some dark areas to bring detail in different aspects that are a little bit darker. The next thing you want to look at is editing presets. So presets are basically filters on phone apps where it already has pre-adjusted filters. There's a specific preset called adaptive, which is an AI preset that allows to enhance specific parts of your image. So maybe I want to already select enhance portrait since this is a picture of individual. So when I click on enhance portrait, you can adjust how much you want to enhance it. I can increase it a little bit so that you can see the difference. Now, if I will click on textured hair, you can see that the quality of that hair went up and you can see more of the details. I can also have smooth hair, enhance clothes. This is what it looks like. You can see that currently with the preset, I have helped improve the texture of the hair. I've brought more color to the face. I have balanced the color of the face and made the whole background a bit warmer. The next thing you want to do is adjust the tone curve. So you can use this graph to adjust the settings. And then you can go to color mixer and you can move forward with adjusting specific colors. So what the color mixer does is that it allows you to adjust specific colors in the photo. Let's say, for example, I want to adjust that plant's green color. Now, if you do an overall edit, like the basic edit, you would be affecting the entire portrait. However, if I'm going to target that specific green, I would hover over to color mixer, head on over to green and start adjusting the hue. Look what happens to the color of the green when I adjust the saturation. You can also adjust the hue to make it a little bit warmer. And then you can also adjust the luminance to bring out that green. So you can tell there's already a big difference between these two. Let's say, for example, now I want to edit that planner. So we're going to go adjust the yellows a bit more. So the luminance we can bring down. Saturation, we can adjust it. Hue. There you go. So that's my edit so far. What you're going to do now is you're going to edit the photo and you're going to take a screenshot of the before and after of what happens after you edit it. Then you're also going to take a screenshot of all the different panels in which you have used to adjust the photo. That way I can see how much editing has been achieved. So pause this video and actually get to work. The next thing you want to do is on the develop portion, we have edit, crop, healing, red eye, and masking. So the next thing we're going to do is learn how to utilize the crop tool. Now, one of my main rules when cropping is making sure that you don't adjust the orientation. You need to constrain the image to retain the ratio. What I want to do is maybe I want to concentrate it more, but you can see I don't allow you to pull on the side, only diagonally. And then once you're done, you can press enter and the photo will be cropped. If you're unhappy with it, you can proceed to adjusting it accordingly. The next thing you want to do is you want to try the healing tool. There are 3 different modes that you can do: content aware, heal, and clone. Now, heal is basically the opportunity for you to adjust any blemishes that you might see on the photo. You can adjust the size and the opacity of how strong you want. So let's start with clone. Clone allows you to copy a specific area that you would like to see over again. So maybe let's try to copy the eye. And you want to hover over the area that you want to have clone. And then you're going to drag the area and you can always add to it. The next tool is heal tool. The heal tool allows you to heal specific blemishes. So if you want to remove stuff, you can just hover over an area and then the computer will be able to guess and remove maybe the blemishes. There you go. I can also use the content aware remove tool. So let's say, for example, I want to get rid of the flyaways here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to go over this area of the flyaways, and then the computer's just going to guess what exactly you're trying to remove and help you do so. What I want you to do is I want you to show screenshots of you trying all 3 of these tools, a before and after of what it looked like before you utilize these 3 modes. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a masking. Masking is the ability to edit particular parts of the photos, specifically color, or maybe hiding specific things that you don't want to show up. So what you're going to do is right now, when you select it, there are specific masks that are already identified. You can see that it's created masks for clothes, hair, teeth, iris, pupil, eye, facial, skin. Now, if you want to see where it actually is highlighted, you need to go on to the bottom called Show Overlay. So once it shows overlay, it's going to show you the areas that it has highlighted. So you can see that it's not completely all the clothes. You can add or subtract to remove specific areas so that it's more accurate. So I'm going to use a brush and I'm just going to remove areas because it's not accurate to the selection of the clothes. And then I can add brush and then have that area. You can adjust your tools by increasing and decreasing the brush. So now that that has happened, say for example, you want to bring out the hair a bit more. Once you have selected the hair, which I have done here, you can increase or decrease the exposure. So maybe I want to bring out the hair a bit more, decrease the structure. By bringing out specific areas, your hair is really bright. Now, let's say I want to work on the skin. You see that this is already selected. You can bring out specific facial features to brighten it. There you go. Now, to create a new mask, all you need to do is select that plus sign. And I'm going to use my brush and I'm going to start adding to that mask and I'm going to edit the color of the leaf. And now I want to hide the overlay so that I can actually see what I am editing. So I want to increase the exposure of the leaf, adjust the contrast, bring out the highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, and maybe adjust the color temperature. There you go. And then maybe I can create a different mask. So I can do leaf. I can also have a new mask of the background. So I can select the background for me. You can see that the background is a little bit over. So you might want to subtract a certain area, which is this, so that it doesn't get the chair. And then now I'm going to also remove the leaf because that's not part of the background. And now I'm actually going to start editing the background to maybe increase it a bit, adjust the contrast, bring a bit of the shadow, and then adjust the temperature. So I'm going to look at my mask once more, and I'm just going to highlight over areas that I want to kind of add. There you go. So now if I look at it, it looks like this. So what I want you to do now is I want you to make sure you create 3 different masks that you have done yourself, and then also edit the ones that are pre-existing. And I also want you to show the before and after of the image. So pause this video and then try to create the new masks. Now that you have the before and after shot of the image that you have made, you need to make sure that you export it. So in order for you to export, all you need to do is select on the photo that you would like. Let's say, for example, you want to export a bunch of these photos. So you're going to select this. You can hold the Command key and then select other images. Or you go to the library section and then just select on specific things by holding the Command key. Now, if you want to do it from one point to the next, and if you want to select all, like let's say I want to select 1 to 21, you need to hold the Shift key. You will be able to select all. So now I need to do is File, Export. Make sure you place it onto the desktop, and then you can do Wong_tutorial, and then rename file to last name, custom name, last name _tutorial. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that the file quality is 100, image format is JPEG, and everything is okay. Then export. And that would complete the Lightroom tutorial that we have. If you have any questions, you can always leave a comment on our Google Classroom, or you can rewatch this video. That is it for our Lightroom tutorial.